Hi, welcome to Banjo Diaries entry number 8, and today is August 3rd. July was a big month for me. I stepped way out of my comfort zone and I participated in Bluegrass Sunday at our church on July 18th. It was good for me in a lot of ways. It was terrifying in a couple ways, and that was also good for me, and I'll explain why. So one of the things that as a lifelong musician, I have a lot of comfort and I don't deal with nerves a lot when cello is involved. And part of that, I'm aware, is because of the way my life is set up. I'm not currently taking high stake auditions for things where nerves would be a part of it. I'm playing in environments that are fun and that are comfortable for me, and I'm playing music that is well within my ability and enjoying it. So and I just have a lot of years experience telling me that I'm capable, and so I don't have the same nerves rattling around in my head. So with the banjo, that's not the case. I don't have experience and I don't believe that I'm super capable, and so those voices are in there that I have to fight. And as a teacher, because I'm a high school teacher, I'm also, as a career professionally, constantly in an environment where I'm speaking Spanish to people who don't understand the language well and who are struggling to understand what I'm saying and uncomfortable with it to varying degrees. And so I forget what that's like too, because it's been so long since I was in a Spanish classroom. And so as a Spanish teacher, as a cello teacher, it's really good for me to put myself in the perspective, in the shoes of what a student is like and what somebody is feeling who lacks that confidence and who is nervous and who wants to do it well but is falling short of that at the moment, right? And so this whole banjo journey has been really good for me to gain that perspective and remember what it's like, and hopefully I can carry that into the classroom or into a cello lesson that I'm teaching and understand a little bit and remember a little bit what it feels like to be on the other side of this journey, right? That we're all embarking on as we learn things. So when I went to the rehearsal for the Bluegrass Sunday, we only had one rehearsal. I'm playing with people that I know well, that I'm really comfortable with, that have seen me play music for years, but for the first time on the banjo. And so my goal was I knew I was going to play I'll Fly Away, and then I had hoped to play another song, which is called I Saw the Light, I think that's what it's called, which was on our set list. And I found a really neat arrangement from Mr. Pankey of that, and I learned it 2 days before our rehearsal. But I knew it probably wasn't up to speed, so I went into the rehearsal like, well, maybe I can play it, I don't know. And that's the piece that I'll play for you at the end of this, so you can hear the new song that I learned in July. But I went to the rehearsal and we started playing, and what happens is when you're playing in an ensemble, it's quite different from playing by yourself, because when you get to a point in the music that is challenging for you and you're alone, one of two things happens. Number one, you naturally slow down a little bit at the hard part so that you can do it, and then you kind of naturally speed back up when it gets easier, right? And we do that to varying degrees. Sometimes the slowdown isn't all that noticeable, sometimes it's like dramatically noticeable, but we do it as we're playing because we know what we can't play well, right? The other thing that happens is we just mess up. So like I'm playing a piece on the banjo, I get to a hard part and I just mess it up. I pick the wrong string, I play the wrong thing, right? And when that happens, I'll just stop because I'm by myself, so I'll just stop and I'll restart the piece, right? Well, when you're in an ensemble, neither of those things can happen. When you're playing with other musicians, they're not gonna slow down when it's hard for you, and they're not gonna stop when you mess up, right? That's not how an ensemble works. And so for that reason, it's good for me to play with people, but it's also scary because when we were rehearsing, I did mess up because I was being pushed tempo-wise. Either I pushed myself or they were going a slight bit faster than I wanted, but I wanted to stay with them. And then I would mess up, or I would just think too much about it and mess up or whatever. And at the rehearsal, when I messed up, I couldn't get back on the train. Like the train kept going, and I was out here and I didn't know what to do. And that was really stressful because I thought, what am I gonna do on Sunday morning if I fall off the train and can't get back on, right? And that's a huge skill you have to have. You have to be able to mess up and keep going. And I can do that without thought on the cello, but on the banjo, nothing happens without thought. So that was nervous, and I did mess up during rehearsal, and I was nervous about the speed. And I quickly realized I could not play the other piece. So then Sunday rolls around, and the way our Bluegrass Sunday was set up, we have 3 services at church, and the first and the third are live streamed on YouTube, and the middle one is not. And so that element added a whole nother layer of stress for me, because I'm thinking, I mean, it's silly because who cares? But I was thinking, oh my gosh, if I mess up and it's live streamed, it's going to be like my mistakes will be visible for eternity on YouTube. I mean, no, like nobody cares, but it's stressful for me. So, and it was the 8:30 service. We hadn't really warmed up because it's really early in the morning, and I just had to go, right? So it was one of those moments where I was very out of my comfort zone. I had a lot of nerves happening, but I did it, and that I'm proud of myself for that, because it would have been easier to be like, forget it, I'm not ready to play. But you know, the guitar came in for a couple beats, and then I just had to jump in and go. The 8:30 service, admittedly, I would say it was disastrous for me. Like, for my expectation of what I wanted to do, I was completely nervous. I was completely not playing to the best of my ability. The whole first half of the song, I messed up, fumbled around, and then would rush to try to get back in. I mean, it just wasn't at all what I wanted it to be. By about halfway through the song, I settled in a little bit and was able to play like the instrumental part. We did an instrumental verse in there, and I could play that a little bit. And then for the rest of the song, I was a little bit more comfortable. But like, I've gone back and listened to it a couple times, and I'm trying to just appreciate the sound the banjo added to the ensemble, but all I can do is focus on the imperfections and the mess ups I had, right? Which is really frustrating. Especially when it's a piece I had been playing for 6 weeks, and I knew that I knew the piece well. But all those nerves are in there, and I hadn't had to deal with nerves for a long, long time. So now I remember what that feels like. The 10 o'clock service went really well, but it's not live streamed. And so I had that whole stress factor was out of my brain for that hour. And so I was just like, this is cool. I've already played it once. I'm warmed up. It's just the people here in the room. And it went really, really well. I was very comfortable. I really enjoyed it. I was like feeling being a part of the ensemble, and just wasn't overthinking it. It was fun. I liked that a lot. Sadly, there's no video evidence of how well that one went. And then the 11 o'clock service was somewhere in the middle. I was warmed up. I had played 2 services already. So that one was, to that extent, it went better because I was feeling it better on the banjo, but I was still a little bit nervous. Those nerves crept back in from the live stream. So I messed up a little bit, but not badly. That one, you know, I felt pretty good about at the end. So all in all, the things I'm most proud about are the ability that I developed between Thursday and Sunday to get back into a song when I fall off of it, because that's so important, and that's a skill that I need to trust is there when I play with other musicians. And just like I said, putting myself in an environment that was really out of my comfort zone and just doing it anyway, and understanding that that's part of the learning process. You know, I'm not going to gain any confidence with the instrument until I've put myself in situations where I've played it in public or with people or whatever, and made it through and survived, right? So that was step 1, was the first time doing it. There are definitely things from that experience that I want to work on and improve, that I know I need to work on. One is the speed, because bluegrass music is just so fast when you're playing in an ensemble, or a lot of it is. I mean, certainly there are slower songs, but a lot of it is faster than my current picking abilities and skills are. So developing speed, and I'm toying around with how to do that effectively. I think I'll have to probably sometimes when I'm practicing bring a metronome in to make sure that I'm not dragging naturally, because it's easy to do that. And I also think that probably just the more I play, speed will come, because I won't be thinking as hard about things. And then the other thing, in addition to increasing speed, is I just need to gain more knowledge of chords and chording and chord progressions and picking patterns for chords, because a lot of playing in a bluegrass ensemble is just, you're just playing backup. And I don't come from a musical background where chording is a big part of it. So if I'm looking at a page with lyrics, like I want to see standard notation and see the music written out, like that's how my brain works. So when I'm looking at a page with lyrics and letters over them that are the chord names, I really have to learn what should I be doing on the banjo during that time. I tried it a little bit with the I Saw the Light song, before I just said forget it and played fiddle instead on that piece. But I have a lot to learn there as far as chord progressions, and a lot of it is just I have a lot to learn about bluegrass music in general and the structure of it and the feel of it, because it's different from the classical training that I have. So it's fun and I'm enjoying it. I still have practiced every day, which I'm proud of as well. That's a big accomplishment in life. It's to not miss a day now for I don't know how many days we are into the year. We are starting school. I'm starting school next week on Monday, so I know August is going to be crazy hectic. But I will still play the instrument every day, but I have to have realistic expectations of what kind of progress I'll make in August, because it's a tough month for our family. So the song you're going to hear now at the end of this video is I Saw the Light, and like I said, I tried to play it for Bluegrass Sunday, learned it in 2 days, but didn't have it fast enough, so I've just kept playing it for the second part of July, and it's gotten faster, still not as fast as we were singing it that Sunday. And it's a tough piece, I think. It wasn't hard to learn, but when you start playing the entire, because I learned it in little chunks, and when I put all those chunks together, what makes the piece challenging, more challenging than some pieces I played, is the combination and variety of picking patterns that are in it, which I'm sure is the case for most banjo music, but up until now, a lot of the music I've learned used more repetitive patterns, and this one just, it'll have a forward roll and then an alternating roll and then a pinch, and I mean it's just kind of using everything but quickly and in a lot of succession. So it was the picking, when I have played it and tried to play it like all the way through, often if I mess up, it won't be anything up here, it will be that I hit the wrong string with one finger, or I do a forward roll instead of an alternating roll or something like that. So like remembering what rolls are coming and stuff. And again, I've talked about this before, but I just it's finding this line of how much do you need to engage your brain when you're playing a piece to like be kind of reading the roadmap that's coming ahead and knowing this is coming, and how much do you just need to abandon thought and let your muscle memory take over and let your body just play it and just be a part of the music. So for this piece, if I overthink it, I mess it up, and I have to kind of partially mentally zone out in order for my fingers to do what they were trained to do as I learned the piece. So it's a cool piece, so you're going to hear that, and I'm going to keep playing, and I will be back in another month, hopefully as a more accomplished banjo player. Bye!